Two-headed right, two heads are better than one-headed right. Two heads are better than one-headed right. Two heads are better than one-headed right. Two heads are better than one.
Hello, welcome back to our channel. My name is Evalyn.
My name is Monty.
And together we are the Two-Headed Writer, a father-daughter writing team originally from Stillwater, Oklahoma, although I am about to go back to the University of Iowa where I study English and creative writing.
So this will be our last episode for a while. We're actually in the same space together. See, we're holding hands and everything. What we usually do is we have this conversation online so that we can catch up, since Evelyn's at school, catch up with each other's writing efforts. So we talk about things Evelyn's working on, things I'm working on, things we're working on together, problems we're having, just our writing journey in general. And if you're on your own writing journey, then come on along with us and we'll have some fun together. Struggling and writing and struggling. What you been working on since we last spoke?
Oh boy. So in theory, I'm working on my novel, my work in progress, and an outline for my next project, but I also spent time this week writing fanfiction because I got blocked and I still needed to write things. So that's my tip.
That's your
for
tip?
This week.
That's a tip?
Yes. If I am struggling to work on my main project, I think that it's okay and in fact better to go write something silly and unimportant than struggle on your project and risk, like causing resentment toward that and the issues.
You don't want to resent your project because it's gotten difficult.
Yes. So I like to, take a break, and sometimes I'll work on my outline, but my outline was also being annoying. So
So what do you do when you have your main project and then your next project and then your side project and then that gets annoying, and so you have another little project until that gets annoying? How many levels down are you gonna go?
Okay. Usually I would have a school thing that I could work on, and I wanted to be writing creative new words. So that is why I turned to fanfiction, because that's my, I would say most of my stories that I've written in the past are fanfiction, but I did kind of hone my writing skills by writing
For
fanfiction.
a long while, most of your stories were fanfiction.
Yeah, for about all of middle school and junior high, I mostly wrote fanfiction. And at the same time, I was always trying to write fantasy stuff and I was working with you. But when I wanted to write on my own, I love writing fanfiction because you don't have to world build and you don't have to come up with the characters. You just get to focus on the plot and the description and honing your actual basic craft. So I'm a big proponent of yeah, writing fanfiction counts as writing. I wouldn't, ever try and turn it in for a school assignment, or, I wouldn't try and... I have some thoughts about the authors that just take their fanfiction and change all the names and then publish it, but,
You mean authors who publish somebody else wrote fanfiction with their characters and then the authors told the story?
No. Somebody wrote fanfiction of a thing, and then it got popular online, and then they took that story, changed the character names, and published it.
So
that's how we have 50 Shades of Grey.
Okay. Okay, yes, that's one thing you can do when you're stuck, is jump track, write some fanfiction, until you feel like you can tackle the problem you're having. Is there a conversation to be had about other methods of getting unstuck?
Yeah, I don't know if I have other great methods of getting unstuck that involve still keeping writing, I guess. But I have ways of getting into that space, so usually I don't get stuck, if that makes sense?
Well, usually I don't get stuck either, although I do get stuck. I mean, boy, I just spent a huge amount of time revising a scene from our book. And in a sense, you could say I was stuck because I was just not liking it. And I kept grinding away at it, and I was going very slowly, but I didn't ever feel like I needed to stop and do something else. Like when I'm engaged with a difficult passage, I'm just there engaged with that difficult passage.
See,
and I don't know, I mean, that might not be a good thing, because maybe I spent more time on it than I really needed to. But if I ever felt like I really didn't know what to do with it, I have other methods that I would go to besides writing. I mean, I could always go write on a different piece, and I might do that, but if I was just really wanting to get this done, I have other methods I could go to. Well, okay. Everybody go to those methods now. So if I'm just really stuck, I really don't know what to do, I will go back to outlining, and so I will switch between left brain, right brain, because I forget which side is which, but one side is detail-oriented, the other side is big picture-oriented. So I go back to outlining, and I would actually...
Left brain is detail, right brain is big picture?
I think so.
Right brain soars. So it could be left brain. So I don't know.
She's using my own song lyrics against me. Switching between writing the actual text versus outlining is switching from one side of your brain to the other. So that often helps get you unstuck. And I will go back to outlining. If I need to, I will just write about the writing process. So I might just open an empty file and type, I'm having trouble with this section because I'm trying to express this about the character, and I tried it this way and it didn't work. I'm forcing my writing brain to go big picture and think about the problem in a different way, not from inside the problem, but from outside the problem.
I like setting the tone for myself when I'm sitting down to write, and I feel like that helps me be less likely to get stuck. I've been trying to refamiliarize myself with the story because I did take a month off, and so I have, gone back through and read what I have, and I've read my outline, and I've rewritten sections of my outline, like all that, so I'm like familiar with the story. But then there were like other things that I tried to do on top of that to like get myself...
I know what you're building up to. Song list.
Well, okay, not just that. Okay, so like for this one, I have a candle here that I can't take to school. I couldn't light it at school. I could technically take it with me to school. That smells like trees. Like he just said, I make a playlist for every project. I like having noise when I'm working, and I will listen to the same playlist over and over, and just in general. So I have a specific playlist that I will listen to for each project, and at a certain point I've listened to it so much I can just tune it out. And I pick songs that have lyrics that are relevant to the story and that like sound kind of the way that I want the story to feel. And so as I'm working, I've got that in the back of my mind, kind of like
putting you in the mood.
Putting me in the mood. And so it gets to the point where if I hear some of those songs outside, or like I have them on other playlists, or I hear them just in the world, I'm like, yeah, my story. And then sometimes just ideas for my story pop into my head because I'm so used to thinking about the story while hearing that music.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Gives you a little cue. Gives your brain a cue to go, idea, here. All right, next topic.
Next topic. What are you working on?
Oh, what am I working on?
Yeah.
I don't think I've done much with my own book since the last time we talked. I'm trying to sort of re-outline that middle part where things may be a little bit redundant. You were able to go through some chapters and leave comments in our book, so I have been working on those revisions, basically.
I'm currently taking my first pass through. He's already gone all the way through. I'm taking my first pass, adding my notes, and then responding to the notes that he left if I've got any sort of issue with what he said, or addition to what he said, a suggestion for a change he proposed.
Yep.
Oh, and if you propose a change specifically, like, we should use this word instead of this word, I just go ahead and do that. You are now going back through it a second time and actually editing based off of what we've discussed.
So now that I've left notes and she's responded to the notes, then I can go and actually make actual changes. And then she's got to go back and look at those changes and leave notes. And then I've got to go back and respond to those notes and leave different changes. And that process will echo back and forth for about 3 years. I find it easier to work on our book right now than to try to fix that outline. That outline is...
Well,
we talked about being stuck. I know what to do, but I just, it's... It's like pushing a big boulder up a hill.
Go write some fanfiction.
Okay.
If you were going to write fanfiction, what would you write?
That question was just in my head. If I was going to write fanfiction... Because, fanfiction was never a thing that I was aware of.
Oh, it was a thing.
At your age. Oh, no, it was a thing. It was not a thing I was ever aware of.
It was not a thing on the internet, which is why it's such a big thing now.
Right. So you had
and
to
also
kind
it was
of
mostly women
stumble into it,
doing it,
discover it, and be in the loop. And I don't know. I never knew there was such a thing. So when I was at the age that one would be compelled to write fan fiction, I did not. It wasn't even a thing that ever occurred to me. What about writing a Star Trek episode?
See, that's
television writers are just fan fiction writers that get paid for what they do, right? Because if you're writing Star Trek episodes, all the characters are, well, depending on what series if it's a new series, it's kind of a different thing, but...
The goal isn't necessarily to make it seem like canon. The goal is just write a good story, an interesting story, and you just want to use those characters because you like those characters, and you want to play around with those characters. And...
Okay. So it's a little freer. So, like, if you were hired as a writer on a show, you have to... make it work with the rest of the show.
Yeah, you have to make a story that makes sense in the context of the universe, that has a good plot, that doesn't have a bunch of plot holes in it.
Doesn't contradict established canon.
Yes. And sometimes I think when they hire really big fans to continue series or reboot things, they kind of get a little excited and then just bring back everything they think is cool, and then perhaps that's not good. I think about this a lot as someone who is interested in how adaptations work, where it's like they only work if someone is passionate about the story in a way where they want to keep what is integral about the story, right? So I just watched the Little Women movie that Greta Gerwig did, and yes, there are lots of Little Women reboots, and did we need this one? No, but is it a good movie? Also, yes, we don't make movies because we need movies. Anyway, very good adaptation of the story, beautiful cinematography, and it's because, she took this story that she cares about and respects and wrote it into a script in a way that, makes it shine and makes it interesting and beautiful and something that was very touching to watch on screen. Taking something that already exists and then, elevating it or just, putting your own personal spin on it and touch on it and getting creative with it. I think that's really a cool way to pay homage to something.
I can't wait to see this episode and see how you creatively adapt it for film. Go.
Comment down below, if you were going to become a fanfiction author, what world would you want to explore?
Please also click the little thumbs up there and click the bell. I have no idea what the bell is for. Oh, so you'll get a message when we post a new one.
If you liked this video and you would like to keep following us on our writing journey, then click that subscribe button. We will be back next week with another video, but until then, remember, 2 heads are better than 1.